When you refer a client to a third-party provider, whether it's a doctor, therapist, or legal funding company, you're not just giving a name. You're giving your name. You're vouching for someone. You're tying your reputation to the experience your client is about to have. And if it goes wrong, they don't blame the service, they blame you. That's why legal funding can feel risky. Because if the company is disorganized, pushy, or confusing, the fallout doesn't stop with them. It shows up in your inbox, in your calls, in your reviews. Legal funding is never just about cash. It's about keeping a client stable long enough to finish treatment, giving your legal team the time it needs to negotiate, protecting the outcome you've worked so hard to build. Done well, funding is a bridge, not a burden, but done properly, it can sabotage everything. That's why it's not just whether you offer funding, it's who you offer it through. You're not just managing a case, you're managing trust. And that trust deserves a partner who treats it like gold. In legal funding, speed matters. A client who's calling about money isn't doing it lightly. They're in crisis. Maybe they're a week behind on rent. Maybe they've missed 2 therapy appointments. Maybe they're this close to settling for far less just to survive. Fast support matters. But here's the key. Fast should never feel like force. A good partner responds quickly without pushing too hard. They return calls within hours, not days. Coordinate with your office without chaos. Disburse funds in 24 to 48 hours. Never upsell or pressure the client to take more than they need. That's how you protect both the moment and the outcome. The moment a funding provider starts calling your client again and again, or tries to talk them into a larger advance than they need, or bypasses your team to close the deal, you've lost control of the experience. And now your client doesn't just feel broke, they feel sold to. That's not support, that's a sales funnel. A real partner moves at the speed of the case, not the speed of commission. Let's talk about transparency. Too many funding contracts read like they were designed not to be understood. Your client is injured. They're stressed. They're trusting you to help them make smart decisions. That's why the best funding partners keep everything clear. No vague clauses, no surprise fees, no fine print games, and absolutely no repayment if the case doesn't win. When the terms are easy to understand, your client relaxes. They don't feel trapped. They feel informed. And that trust doesn't just stick with the funding company. It reflects back on your firm. Here's what to look for. Did they explain how and when repayment happens? Are all fees outlined upfront? Do they welcome your questions or dodge them? Do they help your client understand their options or just push one? Great partners make things simpler, not shakier. Because at the end of the day, your reputation is riding on every referral. Let's be real. Some providers treat case managers like obstacles. They sidestep attorneys, call clients directly, create more chaos than clarity. But true collaboration looks different. It looks like coordination calls with your office, not random outreach. Respecting your time and your strategy. Communicating with care, not noise. Asking, not assuming. The best partners stay in their lane and help you stay in yours. A funding company should never ask when you'll settle, push the client to make decisions prematurely, offer commentary that conflicts with legal advice. Your legal strategy is your business. The funding partner's job is to support it quietly, not influence it. That's what separates someone who writes checks from someone who protects cases. To some companies, legal funding is just numbers. But to your client, it's survival, it's dignity, it's gas to get to therapy, or food for their kids. That's why real funding partners don't just provide cash, they provide compassion. They remind the client, this isn't a loan, there are no credit checks, and if your case doesn't settle, you owe us nothing. No pressure, no guilt, just support with heart. When you refer a funding provider, you're doing more than connecting dots. You're placing your trust. You're putting your name behind the experience, and you're shaping how the client feels about the case, the team, the path forward. At Stonewood Funding, we don't take that lightly. We move fast without pushing. We communicate clearly without confusion. We work with your process, not around it. And we treat your clients like people, not payouts. Learn more or connect with us directly, stonewoodfunding.com, or call us at 844-544-3863. You've worked hard to earn your clients' trust. Let's protect it together.